Peace. This is God Ausere returning with another message. And just diving straight in, Just gonna dive straight in. For me, I want to talk about the journey of the soul for a moment. I want to talk about the journey of the soul. The journey of the soul is a personalized journey. The journey of the soul is very unique to you, the individual. The soul itself is traveling. It is moving beyond space and time and through space and time. And the journey of the soul is one that it's a bit of an infinite journey. It's one of those journeys that is personalized to you. It's a lonely journey. I mean, when you look at the path, the highly spiritual path, the higher your soul evolves, you will notice like the less people you resonate with. And because your soul continues to evolve and grow and break out of these modes, it's almost like if you take a rock, you throw a rock into the lake. When the rock hits the water, you notice a ripple effect. Each wave extends outwardly at 360 degrees. Those waves symbolize expansion. And this is the way ascension works. The soul expands through each experience that it goes through. And so you see how the water creates a ripple effect. The soul is constantly breaking out of the mold that has been placed on it, depending on how much work you do. So whenever you are being led to do something, your soul is being called to do whatever it needs to do to evolve. And most of the time, whenever your soul is put into a space where it's needing to evolve, you will be forced into uncomfortable situations, because it is through the discomfort that the soul expands and the soul grows. People think growth is linear. It is not. Growth happens exponentially. Remember how I just gave you the example of the ripple effect? And when the waves go outwardly, when you throw a rock into the water, those waves move outward and it makes a full circle. That's 360 degrees. But with you, the soul is representational of 720 degrees, because it is expanding outwardly, but also inward. There is expansion going on within. So there's 720 degrees. You know what I'm saying? And so this level of self-mastery comes with a lot of hard lessons. The soul is always on a mission to evolve. The journey of the soul is one that, like I said, is a very personalized journey. You have to understand yourself. You have to know thyself. And we all are still learning who we are, regardless of how advanced you are. So in order for you to continue to advance, you have to be able to strip, time and time again, you have to be able to strip away what you thought you knew. You know what I'm saying? Because the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And so the journey of the soul travels through many different dimensions as you continue to ascend higher. And you ascend through going through shadow after shadow after shadow. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You know what I'm saying? And so as you expand beyond these dimensions, for example, the third dimension is third density. This is the material realm. This is the realm of density, matter, material. So you can knock on something. You can touch something. What it means to be in third density, this means that the vibrational frequency of everything is slowed down. And so the frequency is slowed down, resulting in dense objects that we can touch. When you're in the spiritual realm, when you go into, let's just say, the fourth dimension, um, into the fifth dimension, there is no matter. You know what I'm saying? As you go higher, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimensions, things vibrate higher. When we say things vibrate higher, what we really mean is these things have a much higher vibratory rate. So higher really means vibrating faster. And the faster something vibrates, the higher the frequency of energy is in that thing. So these frequencies and these dimensions are not actual physical places because they exist outside of the physical spectrum of the 3D. 3D. So the slower something vibrates, it slows down, it slows down, it slows down. So if you're vibrating, if you are in the ninth dimension, if your soul is in the ninth dimension, meaning you are not here, you're not here on planet, you're not in the 3D. If your soul is on the ninth, and mind you, we do exist in multiple dimensions. There's parallel versions of ourselves, but the ninth dimension, for example, if you're there and you slow your frequency down, you vibrate a little bit lower, which means a little bit slower. You vibrate down, now you're vibrating in the eighth dimension. A little bit slower, you go down to the seventh. So this is happening in descending order, all the way down to the third dimension. When you get density, things slow down so that you can see it in real time. So what we are doing here in the physical reality is actually having a physical experience based upon our soul wanting to learn more about itself. The soul cannot watch itself when it's on a higher frequency as it exists in the higher realms. So when your soul leaves this body, you actually go through a journey. There's a pathway that you have to take. So when the soul is exiting the body, you move through these higher dimensions. You still are continuing to do work after you leave the physical body. There's just no density. There's no space and time. So the way that the soul is operating is that it is evolving based upon certain frequencies and certain vibrations. The soul is evolving based upon the level of information that it is picking up after it leaves the third dimension. There is no thinking, there is thought here on this realm. And again, whenever we leave this reality, whenever we leave the third dimension, things definitely change. And so like the soul cannot experience itself while still being in a higher dimension. So like, for example, can you actually see your eyes? If you're not looking in a mirror, and the mirror is actually another optical illusion. So if you're just standing there, you're just looking out, can you actually look at your eyes? You can't. You can't see them. You're looking through the lens, but you can't look at your own eyes. You know what I'm saying? So the soul does not know itself. The only way for the soul to experience itself is to incarnate into a physical body, and the oversoul is able to observe itself through a human life, a human perspective. Now you have the things that you can touch, to see, to feel. This is the expression of the soul. The way you look, your body, your temple. You are not your body. Your body and your temple is just an expression of the soul wanting to express itself. You know what I'm saying? The soul incarnated into a body so that it could experience life and know what it feels like in a much lower frequency. See, when you're on a higher dimension, you know what I'm saying? And again, this depends on which dimension we're talking about, because when you extend beyond the third, when you go into the fourth dimension is basically like an extension of the third dimension. In fact, a lot of souls get trapped in the fourth dimension The fourth dimension is where you will see a lot of ancestors dwelling. A lot of ancestors that has crossed over is trapped in the fourth dimension, or trapped in between the third and fourth. They haven't even made it fully out of. This is when you start seeing shadow spirits, or what people call ghosts. These are trapped energies that have not fully, made it out of the third dimension. And from what I've seen in my own experience personally, most of the time when you have these type of entities, they're still holding on to something on earth. So it could be someone who had passed on a transition and they wasn't really quite ready to give up some of these earthly things. And so part of them don't really realize or can't comprehend the fact that they're no longer here. They think they're still on earth to a degree. And this is why they get trapped and get stuck. So me as Anpu, when I tap into that Anpu energy, which is a part of my being, the underworld, God of the underworld. That's part of my mission. I've been God of the underworld. I've actually had to help certain spirits and relatives cross over. When they get out of this realm, they get trapped in between the third and fourth dimension. I've had to help some of my own my own ancestors cross that threshold. You know what I'm saying? It's not an easy task. But so the fourth dimension is basically an extension of the third to a degree. But there's a lot of spirits trapped there. So when you see shadow spirits out of the corner of your eye, the shadow people, a lot of them are trapped entities or spirits. Not all the time, but a lot of times. So that means they're not at a high enough density yet to actually fully remove themselves from the earth realm. Now, when you get to the fifth dimension, you know what I'm saying, which is what a lot of people on earth are able to experience while still in the body. You can still experience these higher dimensions, because remember, a dimension is not a physical place that you can actually go to. A dimension is simply a state of consciousness that you can evolve to, which means that if you are standing in one spot, you could be standing in one spot physically. You can see one thing because you're on the third. You're vibrating at third density, meaning the 3D. The person beside you who has gone through a spiritual awakening, who has gone through shifts in consciousness, is vibrating at the level of 5D. So you can be standing side by side, and this person could be seeing something completely different than what you see. This person might be seeing angels or fairies. You might just be seeing, what you can see in your physical reality. This is because the other person is on another plane of existence. Even though their physical body is standing beside you, their consciousness has superseded the 3D. So again, when we're talking about consciousness and states of consciousness or different dimensions, we're talking about states of consciousness. So again, getting back to the journey of the soul. The soul actually experiences these things. Like, the soul actually had to take a fall from these higher dimensions in order to fall into a physical body. Excuse me. So you look at like, if you look at like some people, there's information out there stating that we fell, a lot of us, most of us humans fell from the 13 dimensions, from the 13th dimension down into a body. Then there's other, ancient teachings which says that we fell from the 11th dimension, 11 dimensions, and so forth. Some say, but I'm saying that we fell from 9 dimensions, because you can go to the 13th dimension, but the 13th dimension is only an extension of the 4th dimension, because the 1 and the 3 comes back to 4. Fourth dimension amplified. So basically, you're basically going to a higher level of the same dimension. So if you look at the number nine is the highest number that we know of here. 9 is the number of completion. Once you reach 9, there is no other number. When you go to 10, you're just back at 1. When you go to 11, you're back at number 2, because 1 and 1 is 2. When you go to 12, you're at 3 again. That's the third again. So you're repeating the steps, but you're on a higher version of these dimensions. I'm trying to put it in a way where you get what I'm saying. So if you look at the third dimension, now we take it up to the 12th dimension. When your soul is at the 12th dimension, a much higher dimension than the third dimension, but when you get to the 12th dimension, you're dealing with some similarities. It's like a parallel universe to the third dimension, because the 12th dimension still comes out to the third, because the 1 and the 2 comes back to 3, because it's just an extension. It's a higher version of the third dimension. But ultimately, we don't go high. The soul goes through 9 dimensions before it starts over and goes to a higher version of the previous dimensions. 9 is the number of completion. Remember, when it goes to 10, it starts over. And again, this is me giving you the information from source, the way it's moving and coming through me. No books, no, you know what I'm saying? No philosophy, none of that. You know, again, there's information that I want to bring, and the information that I get comes directly from source. When I talk to people about these things, like there are certain books that are very valuable in terms of esoteric and spiritual information, depending on what your soul is led to. But I always say, I am the book, and so are you. The information inside you is your pages. So we are the gods that we have been waiting for. Or should I say, we are God that we have been waiting for, because to say gods is to put God into a physical perspective, and God is energy. You know, God. God is gas, oxygen, and density, which makes up everything. Peace to Barack Shabazz, who gave me that information, dropped that wisdom on me. You know, continue to rise in power, the master teacher. But anyway, again, man, you know, you are the book. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of the information that I'm giving you, you know, it's a combination of just the ascended masters passing this information down to me, channeling it, and sometimes, you know, I may be led to a book, but most of the time I'm not really picking up things from the books. It's usually coming directly from source, and I'm just tapping in. And sometimes when your frequency is, you know, at a high level, it's kind of hard. You might notice me sometimes stumbling with words, because the human brain can't really comprehend the higher dimensions in the language. So I'm trying to channel the language into words. You know what I'm saying? You notice, like, sometimes you see people speaking what you call light language and things of that nature. You know, they're translating the language. You know, I haven't started translating it that way by doing light language. So I'm giving it to you the best way that I can. And one way that I can give it to you, though, is through music, because as an artist, I can give it to you that way. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times it's hard to relay information from the spiritual realm, because, you know, spirit just knows frequency and energy. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, not to get off track. So you are the book. So anything that you need to access, you can go within. So when people like to just, you know, so like, again, we have different systems that teach us different things, and we can pull from that. All of these systems are already inside of you anyway. They come from out of inside of you. You know what I'm saying? You are the architect and you are the writer and creator of your own script, your own story here. So, if you want to really get into the books, you can tap into the book that is in you. You know what I'm saying? You have something called your Akashic library. Those are your books that you can pull from, real information. You know what I'm saying? That you can go inside of you to get. And then you begin writing your own, interpretation of what you've learned. And that's the beauty of all of the true living gods and goddess energy coming together to share information. The high level beings coming to share information. Because, you know what I'm saying? What good is it going to do what good is it going to do me if I read your book and I'm just repeating what you said? It's okay. It's good to learn from what each other, what we say, but it's always best to experience, because to me, experience is the best teacher. So you should be able to come to me and tell me, okay, yeah, you read my book, but I want to know, what did you apply from it and what did you come up with, so that we can keep adding on to the information that we get on a collective level. You know what I'm saying? Because what I see in the so-called, spiritual and conscious community, especially the new age, is you see a lot of people just intellectually repeating the same information over and over to make it sound dressy and shit. I come from the era where, like, a lot of these new people, they don't really know. They wasn't around when we used to go to actual lectures and sit down and listen. You know what I'm saying? I actually sit down with the elders and masters, highly spiritual masters. A lot of my people, I know people personally today that has gone and actually sat down with the Dogon tribe in real life. I talk to these people that I have close to me. They not on the internet. These are elders that I talk to sometimes. See, y'all, a lot of the internet, the new age internet boom, don't really know about that. You know what I'm saying? And I love the fact that the internet has given people an opportunity, even myself, to dive in and speak about certain things. But make no mistake, I wasn't birthed on the internet. I came to the internet. And this is why, I think a lot of people get it misconstrued, because, they're used to just, they're not used to actually, they just used to this new age information. And so, it's made to sound fancy and it's made to sound good, and it just kind of gets things, sometimes it can throw things off. But again, man, I think it's an excellent tool, because there's so many people that are awakening. And one of the things about that is that if you look, one of the ways you can tell, and I know I'm kind of bouncing around, so I was talking about the journey of the soul, but I want to make this last point, is that when you look at this recent election, that is a sign that the collective actually shifted the paradigm. The American election was actually supposed to go, it was going to go in another direction. But because we, the collective, those who are, the true indeed gods of this planet, the true indeed light vessels, the true beings of, the star seeds, the chosen few, because we collectively went within, shifted the energy, we was able to shift paradigms, or what people are saying, shifting timelines, because we were going down another road. And so you have to really think about that. That's the power of the collective. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't everybody that did it. But it was enough of us who are on that frequency who went within and actually shifted the frequency and shifted the paradigm to make the outcome a different outcome. So I wanted to say that as a side note. But again, man, just getting back to the journey of the soul. The journey of the soul is one that is a very much, again, it's an individualized journey. Yeah, the journey of the soul, it's an individualized journey. You find your again, the soul goes through so many different, a lot of times people don't really understand, or they don't really realize that whenever they're sparked to do something, they don't realize it's their soul. Your soul is who you are. That's you at your very core essence is your soul. The soul existed before the body. See, you've taken on this persona called your ego. You think you are your ego, and your ego has convinced you that it is you. You know what I'm saying? You think your physical body is you. So you feel like you have to have a certain image. You got to look a certain way. You got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to talk a certain way. You got to whatever, you know. But that's you living from the ego. You living from the outside in and not living from the inside out. Instead, when you let the soul guide you, now your spirit is your guide, but you at your core are your soul. So the soul and the spirit in essence are not the same thing. I know sometimes people confuse the two or try to use the two interchangeably, but the spirit and the soul are not the same thing. The soul is who you are. It's what you are. The soul is just, the soul is the embodiment. It is energy, straight energy. The soul is actually a light. It is a light. The soul is a light, all light. Hence the soul. Hence the word solar. When you think about solar, your solar plexus, that is light. It represents the fire element, the light. When you talk about solar activity or solar energy, you think about the sun, which is the light. So soul and solar are very much related. So when you talk about the soul is always on a constant journey. And the soul has the way that the soul evolves is through new experiences. And like I said, the soul had to incarnate into a physical body in order for it to experience itself. Otherwise, the soul wouldn't be able to experience itself. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how this thing works as it pertains to the journey of the soul. And I want to actually pick back up on this. I'm going to come back with a part 2 and make sure, I don't know what I'm putting this on. I just kind of got on here and started speaking. I just wanted to get this message out. Spirit told me to just get it out. And hopefully you able to pick up what I'm saying. Just, able to pick up the pieces. If your consciousness will allow you to take it in, take it in. Because I know I'm bouncing around a bit, but I'm just trying to get it out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, whatever this message means for you, it's something to take into consideration. When you see certain things happening around you, your soul is communicating with you. This is not the journey of the physical body. This is the journey of the soul. So don't hold yourself back or limit yourself from certain experiences, especially by being trapped in fear. Because fear will actually limit the soul, and the soul feels like it's in prison when you constantly are afraid or you keep on perpetuating fear. So again, like I said, I think I'm gonna drop a part 2. I know I'm gonna come back and drop a part 2. I just don't know what you're gonna be hearing this on. I might put it on, you might hear this on YouTube. If this is on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on TikTok, go ahead and follow or save or whatever, and come back for part 2. If you're listening to this on radio, because Art of the Ancestors radio as well, you can come back here and listen. I'm just giving this message, man. Whatever you listening to this on, man, just lock in with me. And we're gonna get back to part 2, talking about this thing, man, the journey of the soul. Again, man, it's God Ausere, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.